earthquake discovery, how earthquakes in Italy are linked to earth burping carbon dioxide, CO2, and other gases, I would say. I recently uploaded a video having to do with Japan, how the residents were complaining that they had a sense of methane being released, and they were wondering if there was an imminent earthquake because of the gas that was noticed around this whole area. Now, this is again another type of a gas that's emitted from the earth, whether it's a volcanic area or whether it's a fault line that's giving out these emissions. Major earthquakes in Italy are being triggered by huge releases of carbon dioxide from beneath the surface. This is what researchers have recently found. In April 2009, a magnitude 6.3 earthquake rocked the city of Aquila in the Abruzzi region of central Italy. That whole town has been destroyed. They had buildings there from the Renaissance and unfortunately very old, and they were not earthquake proof, obviously. Now, immediately after that tremor, researchers began measuring CO2, which was being emitted from nearby hot springs. They found what they suspected, that more than a decade later, researchers would reveal the gas bubbling up from beneath Earth's surface would trigger such a devastating quake, which killed more than 300 people at that time. Beneath L'Aquila are two groundwater aquifers. Permeable rock, which transmits groundwater, where the researchers began measuring this CO2, they discovered huge bubbles of CO2 which traveled up through the rocks, triggering earthquakes as they did so. The team from the Italian National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology believes the carbon dioxide, the CO2, traveled up, weakening the crust and making it more prone to tremors. Obviously, weakening the crust, meaning that it would rattle the fault lines and create the tremors. And they said in their statement, the Apenninic earthquakes in the last decade are clearly associated with the ascent of deeply derived CO2. The study co-author Giovanni Giordini, a geologist at the Italian National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology, says, "I think there is a feedback between the two." On the other hand, the team also believed that the initial small tremors of the quake may disrupt the CO2 bubbles, forcing them to shoot upwards and causing more powerful earthquakes. They said the analysis of groundwater makes it possible to investigate relatively large areas and related tectonic processes at regional scale. By monitoring tremors in the region for more than a decade, the team were able to deduce how much CO2 was produced over a 10-year period by seismic activity. They found a staggering 1.8 million tons of CO2 was released in 10 years, which is equivalent to the carbon emitted from 350,000 cars driven for a year. The team now believes these figures should be factored in when thinking about CO2 emissions in terms of saving the planet. In other words, these CO2s are also coming from the Earth itself. It's not just man-made emissions, man-made carbon dioxide. It's because of earthquakes and volcanic areas. They wrote the study of groundwaters in tectonic activity around areas would be a powerful tool to better estimate the global budget of tectonic carbon dioxide emissions into the atmosphere. He said, "We hope that a continuous monitoring of water springs is the best way to keep track deeply produced CO2 emissions to better understand the causal relationship with seismicity." So there you go. It's obviously it's not just man-made CO2, it's also the Earth that is burping all this carbon dioxide. This is by Sean Martin on Express UK. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon. Most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.